Good evening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your dinner. I did. Did you? Okay. They enjoyed their dinner, yeah. I'm Jim Burra, and I'm the new chairman of the scholarship committee. It's quite an honor to be that, partly because I get to meet all the scholars within the Pacific Club, and that's a big treat for me. So thank you for that. My job tonight is to introduce our speaker, but before I do that, I have a little secret that I want to tell to the scholars, to all of our students. And so listen carefully, because you're not allowed to repeat secrets, right? That's a joke. It's okay. Okay. Kay helped me write this speech, so no. Okay. At any rate, the secret I want to tell you is, when you're at school and you're choosing your classes, try to find a professor that really, you get. That professor speaks to you, speaks to your mind, and you really get engaged with that professor. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but that happens a lot of times, and for me, it was perfect. Dwight Call, I can still remember Dwight Call, and that was a while ago. He was the first professor who spoke to me, and I turned out it changed my whole attitude towards school. I started thinking about other classes being pretty good too, instead of just something I had to go to. And you'll find, if you find that teacher, you'll even get up for that 8 o'clock class, and be there, and you'll want to stay for the whole time and ask questions after. So that's just my little tip, secret for you. Okay. So I told you about how I had a professor like that. Our daughter, Laura, is a graduate of Chapman University, and she had a professor like that, someone who spoke to her, who she came home and told us about this class. She was so excited. And maybe you've done that before. You've come home and told your parents, wow, what did I learn? You want to know what I learned today or last week or whatever it was? So we are very fortunate to have Laura's teacher here to speak with us tonight. And I would like to introduce that teacher to you, a great teacher and a good friend, Dr. Jim Doty. No, that's right. I'm sorry. Here, I'm going to hand you this. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for your leadership as chair, newly appointed chair of the Education Committee, and also member of the Board of Trustees at Chapman University, along with Joanne Leatherby, who's also at the table. Well, congratulations, scholarship recipients. The fact that you received this scholarship is an indication not only are you guys doing well in school, but I'm sure in looking at the criteria and the committee's deliberations, you also excelled in leadership, in serving as a change agent in one way, shape, or form. I imagine you were in clubs and organizations where, whether you know it or not, you were leaders. You change things. You work with other people and teamwork, and being a leader is exciting. And it starts at a very young age. You may not have been conscious of it, but if you were with a group of others your age and you were deciding, what are we going to do now? There seemed to be always one or two people who would kind of lead the pack. Kind of difficult to determine what are the attributes that lead to that, but leaders seem to emerge, and others were inspired by those leaders to work together to make something happen, for change to occur. Change is difficult. People love the status quo, the inertia of the status quo. So it takes special individuals to change that and make our world, make our lives better. You've already demonstrated that. And now that you're in college, some of you are graduating and some of you are freshmen, you will be honing those leadership skills as you mature and go on to graduate school, your first jobs, your careers, and I hope you will set a mark as a leader. So I thought this evening I would share with you a few attributes about leadership, and I tried to think about what it is that I would talk about this evening in terms of what example would I use. I served not only having the wonderful fortune of teaching students like Laura and others, but then I went into administration, became president of Chapman University for a long time, 25 years. Thankfully, I'm back in the classroom. I'm loving it, being with students again like Laura and having that interaction. But if I were to talk about Chapman and what I learned at Chapman, it would be difficult to describe, mainly because oftentimes a large institution, it takes a long time to make change happen. It's like moving an aircraft carrier. It's like watching a flower grow. You don't see it. It takes a long time. So to describe it, we don't have that time this evening. So what I thought I'd share with you is one of my hobbies, and that is mountain climbing and the experiences I had mountain climbing, because there's something about mountain climbing that is similar to being a leader in any other organization. Only instead of taking 25 years for something to happen, it might be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. But in that month, you will have a vision. That vision is to get to the top of that mountain, the strategies to get there, the teamwork that's involved. And by describing that, you can see things happening faster. And I really, really believe that's why I became interested in climbing, is because it emulates the basic attributes of leadership that I find fascinating, not only learning about, but practicing and trying to get better at it. The particular experience that I'm going to focus on mainly is a climb that our son Adam and I went on in South America. It's Mount Aconcagua. It's the highest mountain outside of the Himalayas. It's 23,000 feet high, so it's quite a challenge. And it's a tough challenge. And there were things that I learned along the way moving up. Before I get into that, should first of all say that I kind of feel strange being up here, because while I give a lot of talks, this is the first person-to-person talk, I don't know, I think in a year that I've been, I did our economic forecast virtually. I've been doing all of these Zoom. I just gave a talk before the Western Bankers Association Zoom. Actually, I'm a little worried about the fact that, are you real people out there? Maybe this is new, some high-tech Zoom kind of thing that they've somehow dreamt up in the Silicon Valley. You are real people? Anyway, it's a joy to be again with real people. Well, one of the things that I learned was on the first few days on the climb up Mount Aconcagua. It takes about 3 or 4 days, the first part of it, before you actually see the mountain. So you're walking, you're trekking. It's like any hike anywhere else, not too high at that point, but you're steadily gaining altitude. And finally you turn around, you turn a corner, and all of a sudden you see looming before you this incredible mountain. And it's kind of a mountain that stands out on its own. It's in the Andes, but you can see the whole thing, and it's not covered by other mountains. So it's looming before you, and it's scary. It's intimidating. And our guide, we had a great guide, one of the great climbers of the world, Vern Tejas, and he knew what was coming, and he knew our shock when we saw that, because we're all thinking the same thing. You mean we're going to have to climb up that mountain? And he said, team, let's get together. He said, don't look at the top of the mountain. Look at that next knoll that you see around 100 feet up. We have to get over that knoll to ultimately get up there. So just take one day at a time. I run marathons, and you know, mile one is tough. In fact, when you're just trying to get in the cadence, in the groove, it's tough. And you think, I got to go 26 more of these? It's intimidating. Same thing. Think of the next half mile. Think of just getting over the next 500 feet. It's one day at a time. So whenever you're involved in leadership, don't just think of your ultimate goal. Our goal at Chapman was to create an exciting, vibrant educational environment. Took a long time. There are all kinds of elements that relate to that. But if we could look at some basic measures that indicate or measure progress, we can see that we are slowly but surely making progress, moving forward without falling behind. It's like, you know, you want to get from point A to point B, you're in a sailboat and you're tacking. You sometimes may not even be pointed towards where you want to go, but you're slowly making progress. So be patient, but be cognizant of the fact that you will set short-term goals in order to aspire and achieve your long-term goal. When we got up to base camp, which was about started about 5,000 feet altitude, and you go up to 14,000 to get to base camp. And that's when you kind of leave civilization and you're more on your own. You don't have provisions. You don't have burros to help you, or mules to help you carry stuff up. And when you get to 14,000, you have to start bringing food and oil to heat water, so you could turn the snow into water. So you need fuel, you need food, and you have to cache it, which means you carry up some and then you come back. The issue is that first day when we were at 14,000 and we had to go up to 17,000, leave food up and go back, I was lagging behind. I was a lagger. You have to carry a lot with you, generally a 60-pound pack. The same thing happened when I climbed Mount Vincent in Antarctica. That was even worse because I had to, in addition to a 60-pound pack, I had to push a 125-pound sled. And that time in Mount Aconcagua, I was slow. Adam was helping take some of my weight away and carry it himself. Other teammates were doing the same thing. And when we got back to base camp, I went to our guide and I said, Vern, I'm lagging. I'm holding the team back. They're even carrying some of my stuff. I can't do it. I think I should turn back because I don't want to keep the team behind and be a hindrance to the team. And Vern is about my size too. He looked at me and took his finger and pointed it very close to my eyes, and he pointed at me and he said, Jim, you can do it. I know you can do it. Well, if one of the great mountain climbers of the world tells me that, convince me, well, maybe I can. Maybe I can do something I don't think I'm capable of. But the point there is Vern's leadership was necessary to get one of his team members, keep him part of the team and help him work with the team to accomplish our shared goal. So as leaders, you can't be a leader on your own. It can only happen with others working with you as a team. But as a leader, you have to be there to inspire others to go for that shared goal, because the times are going to get tough. People are going to get down, depressed. They could pull the rest of the team down with them. And as a leader, you're there to inspire them. one of my mentors is George Ardress Sr. I learned so much from him. And I remember when he called me up, said the Board of Trustees got together and they'd like you to serve as president of Chapman. I remember, I'm a professor. I'm not trained to be a president. I'm an economist. I don't have a background in educational leadership. And I said, well, let me think about it. Let me talk with Lynn. And the next day I said, can I see you? And I went to see Mr. Ardress in his office. And I kind of like the time with Vern said, I can't do this. I told George, you know, just thank you. It's a great honor for the board to ask me to serve as president, but I don't know if I have what it takes. And he said, Jim, you know, we've known each other a long time. You served as dean of the business, and I know who you are. And I know, Jim, kind of like Vern, I know in your heart, I'll never forget this, I know in your heart of hearts, you know you can do it. He was right, but there's an example of another. He was right when he said that, yeah, down deep, I thought, yeah, maybe I can do it, but I needed someone like a mentor, someone I respect to get me that, you know, give me that push that I needed to move forward and take on the challenges and major responsibilities that are necessary to serve as president. There was a time in Aconcagua where we were encountered what are called penitentes, which means prayer and penitence. And it's these ice formations that are seracs, very, very difficult to get through. And you kind of negotiate your way through these. They're kind of dangerous because these seracs can crack and come down randomly. So it's kind of a scary experience too. As careful as you are, you can't control one of these ice, huge pieces of ice falling down and possibly killing you. It was scary, and we were moving forward, and we got about 20% in. There's a huge penitentes range. And Vern couldn't get together because we were all separated in these little angles, and he shouted out, let's head back. We had to head back, and we got out, the penitentes, we grouped together, and he said, we can't get through this. It's going to be too much work. It's too dangerous. Penitentes are particularly dangerous this year. So we're going to have to go around, but it's going to take an extra day to do it. The point is, oftentimes in leadership, you have to be adaptable to change. Many of you are thinking about careers, majors, what you're going to specialize in school, maybe even graduate school. The most important thing that you determine is not making a decision and putting it in concrete. But sometimes when things change, when you learn more things and things happen and you have more experience, more knowledge, sometimes you have to make a decision to change your course. At Mount Vincent, there was a barrier where a couple of us fell in, including me, in crevasses, very dangerous. And our guide then, again, we had to go around this crevasse field. And again, it took maybe a half a day extra to do it. But you look, you measure the probabilities where you are, and sometimes you make a decision to change. I was going to be an accounting major, loved accounting, but when I took my first economics course, I loved it even more, and I said, this is what I want to do. It was my epiphany. I found my passion. So I had to go home, tell my parents, everybody else who thought, gee, you've been, 2 years of accounting and majoring it, and now you're going to throw all that away to become, well, what's an economist? Isn't that, my mom said, isn't that home economics, learning how to cook and clean your house? But that was my passion, and I made that decision, but it was an informed decision. But oftentimes you have to change course. And as a leader, sometimes you hit those roadblocks and you have to change your strategy, always keeping in mind you want to get to the top of that mountain, but oftentimes they're different and strategically better ways to do it. Okay. This happened again both in Mount Vincent and Antarctica, and also Aconcagua. The very first day in Vincent, I'm using Vincent as an example because that's where I had to pull a sled in addition to my pack. And similar to Aconcagua, I'm having trouble. Adam's starting to take some of my stuff. Other team members are beginning to take weight off. And I'm still lagging behind everybody else. We finally get to the camp, our camp one. And I felt terrible. I didn't go to the guide and say I wanted to quit, but I was feeling like I wasn't pulling my weight. Literally, I wasn't pulling my weight. So I was embarrassed, felt down, depressed, and we get together and we're setting up our camp and all, and everybody's complaining about blisters. And because they have some new boots, the higher boots hitting different places on their legs and their feet, and they have hot spots, and yeah, so they're all complaining, not knowing quite what to do because they know the next day is going to get worse. Okay, I may not be the strongest person in the world in carrying stuff, but I am an absolute expert on dealing with blisters. Expert. If anybody has a blister, you come and see me. And the reason for that is I'm a runner. And especially the early days when I started getting into running, I had terrible blisters. I was blister prone. But over time, I began to know all the perfect bandage, the kind of ointment, everything else. And I brought all this stuff up with me. I was not a very good climber in terms of carrying weight, but I was the best person in terms of taking care of blisters. That night, I was the most popular team member. I was going from tent to tent with my little doctor's bag, putting the right mall and taking care of everyone's foot and ankles, and they could not be more pleased. I relate that story because it shows that everybody in a team, leadership involves teams, everyone on that team has a comparative advantage in something. Somebody is better than everyone else in something. Not just a leader. Everyone in your team has a comparative advantage. And as a leader, hopefully you will help your team find that. And that's why it's important for you, your special skills, use them, share them with others. And when you feel you're inadequate in some areas, that's okay, because there will be other members of your team who will be able to help out, who will be able to support you. I've generally found the most successful CEOs, if you look at their if you read about leadership and read about those CEOs that make a mark and rise above the pack, it's not because how much they know, you'll find. But one thing they are very good at is hiring people and selecting who will be on their leadership team, and especially the CEOs who recognize their own weaknesses and are able to recruit people who can shore up those weaknesses. We can't be great at everything, but we can select people that can help the team have those attributes that are necessary for change to happen. Okay, here's my last little story. In Aconcagua at base camp, you know, the mules aren't with you anymore. You have to take up your own food, and you need carbs. You're no longer worried about, you know, healthy food anymore. You need carbs, mainly sugar, because you're burning something like 7,000, 8,000 calories a day climbing. You're in rarefied air, and you have to keep your strength up because you're not getting the kind of oxygen supply. and you have to feed, you have to feed your cells. So they put out a table, like 2 tables like this, and they fill it with, Three Musketeers, Snicker bars, Hershey bars, whatever it is, jerky, and all kinds of food. And this is South American. They get them from South American stores. So a lot of the stuff you don't even recognize, but you can see it's kind of a candy bar. It looks like chocolate. I'm looking. So I go there, and I was kind of late getting to the table. Everybody else had taken the good stuff like Snickers. So I was, I was one of the laggards, and I get there. Most of the stuff is gone. But I see there's this log. There's a log, and I look at it. I'll never forget it. It says, Huga, H-U-G-A. What the heck is that? And I couldn't read and it was actually in Portuguese. So I couldn't even get, the Spanish. It was in Portuguese. So it came from Brazil. And I'm looking at this thing. It looks kind of like a log of salami, like a salami log, a summer sausage, a Hickory Farms log. And I'm looking at it, and I say, may as well take this. It's protein. I take it, and first day I open it up and I realized it's not salami. And then I asked one of the team members, not the guy, one of the assistant guides, what is this? And he said, that's crushed up fig. Crushed fig. And I've never seen that. I love figs, but it's crushed up figs. When I say I was kind of lagging at the beginning, after I started eating that Huga, that crushed up fig, I became like the star. I was leading the pack. I was no longer lagging behind. And when he told me that this was crushed up fig, the thing that registered in my mind was my dad. My dad is an immigrant from Italy, and immigrated to Chicago. And I know as a little kid, I would always help my dad every winter take this little stick of a fig tree and wrap it up in straw and plastic to survive the winter, because figs don't survive in cold weather. They love California, but they don't like Chicago. So my dad wanted it to live and survive, so he wrapped it up. Spring would come, it would always be dead. But my dad never gave up. He tried every year, never worked, but it didn't stop him from trying to get that fig tree to grow. But he always told me, if we could ever get figs are wonderful. They're the staff of life. Forget about bread and wine. It's figs and wine. And I thought of that, and it was like a mentor, my dad, giving me a leadership lesson and reminding me about something that I should use kind of as a rule. And for some reason, and I think it was not only the inspiration, because I know it was my dad's suggestion to me, words from the wise, but also I really now believe that figs are packed with power. I got now 3 fig trees. And on that note, Jim and Kay, I want you to, since you introduced me, such a lovely personalized introduction, you could come and get it. Fig season just about ended, and this is from I have a Mission, Cadota, and Tiger fig, and this is fig preserves, just canned by me. So enjoy. And Kay and Jim, I won't be surprised if you'll be climbing a mountain in just a few months. I'll be on the watch for you. Well, I tell you that story, and the lesson to be learned there is, please, whatever you can do as you go on in life, especially now as you're younger, find mentors, find people who can inspire you, are great examples, people you can learn from, people can give you suggestions over time. Oftentimes older people who've had many experiences, successes and failures, and they've learned from those, they can impart that to you. It could be a professor, it could be a sibling, could be your mother or father. But as Jim said, teachers, oftentimes can be the best mentors. So if you can, those that somehow have a special connection to you, grab onto them and work with them and see if they can help you negotiate life as you become leaders yourself. I will conclude by saying that one last word of advice. I'm not sure this is something you can, I struggle with this because I'm not sure if it comes from within or something you can actually pick up as a skill. When I was serving as president and selecting vice presidents and would interview them, oftentimes I would not ask them about, or I didn't focus on their experience or their resume or what college they may have graduated from or their major. The most important thing that I wanted to get out of that interview was kind of their outlook on life, in that, did they see things half full or half empty? I'm not sure if that's just genetic or something that you somehow develop from youth all the way to where you are now in life. But if you can have a positive outlook and see the brighter side of things, the brighter side of life, even when you have failures or where things don't happen quite the way you want them to work out, but look at it positively, not only will you be better leaders, but I think you will find much more pleasure in living your life. And I will conclude here by reading one of my favorite books. Was written, it's Robert Falcon Scott's log that he took on a race to the South Pole. This took place around 1911. And he was in a race. He was an Englishman and an English team racing against a Norwegian team. They were both close to each other, and they started about the same time to get to the South Pole. It was a big deal. Who would get there first? Well, it's an incredible story. The end of the story is that the Norwegian team, under the great leadership of Roald Amundsen, got there about 2 weeks ahead of Scott. And what's sad and tragic is Scott and his team didn't make it back. They died on the way back. But throughout it, he kept the log, and he died in his tent, and they found his log in the tent. And I want to read, so here his team is dying along the way. He's in the tent. They know they're not going to go any farther. He knows that they're not going to make it. And it's tragedy. The Amundsen beat them, and you would think that you might be pretty depressed after all that. And here's what he wrote. We are weak. Writing is difficult. But for my own sake, I do not regret this journey, which has shown that Englishmen can endure hardship, help one another, and meet death with as great a fortitude as ever in the past. Now, this is his last line in the log. Had we lived, I should have had a tale to tell of the hardiness, endurance, and courage of my companions, which would have stirred the hearts of every Englishman. The ironic thing is that, well, they didn't make it, they died, and Roald Amundsen, I mean, afterwards, there was no question he was a better leader, more effective, and in many respects, Scott was a failure as a leader, made several major errors along the way that led to this tragedy. The ironic thing is, people looking back at this turns out that Scott turned out to be more heroic, thought as a real hero by people around the world, whereas Amundsen is somewhat forgotten. And you know what the reason is? Well, I wasn't a very good leader in terms of getting to the South Pole. He was a great writer. And his log was much more lively, read by millions of people to the current age, whereas Amundsen couldn't write. And that's another skill. That was Scott's comparative advantage, and he used it. And on that note, I'm going to leave each of the scholarship recipients with something. It's a little parting gift, and it's a tablet with a little pen. And what I want you all to do, even start it out, even if you could begin, but I hope you could do it the rest of your life. I wish I had done it. And that is to take this log, and may this log be the beginning of a diary where you write down not what you ate for dinner tonight, but what you may learn in your life. Something that somebody tells you that you may either agree or not agree with, but touches you in some way that somehow hit your heart. The people you meet along the way, the experiences you have, a quotation. Put them down in this book and try to find one thing every day that you could write about. And maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years from now, you're not going to remember anything I said tonight. But if you keep this log, at least you'll say, yeah, I think there was some guy. Oh, I know. It was the night I received the Pacific Club Scholarship. Something you should remember for good reason the rest of your lives. And could I ask all of the scholarship recipients to show their support to all of the Pacific Club members that have generously supported this scholarship, not only in terms of their financial generosity, but the time they've taken to select you as recipients. So let's show that recognition.
Okay, you got me again. So what we're going to do next is we're going to ask some of our past recipients to come up and just give us a few words about what's happened to them since they got their scholarship a year or two ago. And someone asked me, could they be first? And I said no. But I changed my mind. And so, Monica, would you like to come up first and talk to us? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. If you don't know me, I'm Monica Mejia, daughter of Ali and Juan Mejia right here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So first, you guys may be wondering, wow, she loves to talk, but it's because I'm recruitment chair for the communication club. So I do this all the time. And then plus I go and I do a lot of working with campaigns. So I do a lot of the door knocking, going on the doors, a lot of, no, it's okay, you know, next. But it's something I love to do. But currently I'm a senior at Cal State University, Channel Islands. I'm studying my political science, and I hope to attain my BA and then go into law school. So that's like my biggest thing, to go into law school and be able to study criminal law. And the biggest thing I would like is to be able to work at the DA's office. That's my biggest goal. But besides that, I guess my other biggest accomplishment would be to make my parents proud. They have worked, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna cry. They have worked so hard. They have pushed me further. They always test my limits. I'm like, I can't do that. And my dad and my mom always said, yes, you can. And I'm forever grateful that they have provided the resources and everything I need to be who I am and who I want to become. And also you guys. Thank you guys so much. I am forever grateful. And I know that by obtaining this scholarship, it helped my parents a lot, especially right now with COVID. And I know that I will forever be grateful that I had this opportunity. And I just want you all to know that when I'm become a successful person like every one of you, I will pay it forward as well. Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, thank you very much, Monica. Now I'd like to have Marcus come up and tell us about computer science and all the wonderful things he does in the computer area, which I personally don't understand at all. So we're glad that we have a young man who can do that. Marcus?
Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for having me here at this wonderful celebration. I am truly honored and privileged to be here with so many distinguished individuals. I would like to begin by saying thank you to the Pacific Club for this tremendous honor, and also the Orange County Community Foundation for facilitating in this award. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Marcus Cervantes, and here with me today are three incredible individuals. First, my amazing mom, Michelle Cervantes, the backbone of my family and my #1 supporter. My little sister, Mia Cervantes, who always seems and knows how to make me smile. And my best friend and mentor that I just so happen to call my dad, Rick Cervantes. I would not be here without them, as they have shaped who I am today, instilling many core values in me, teaching me how to show empathy, provide respect, staying humble, and to always work hard. And with that, I want to say thank you, Mom, Dad, and Mia. With that, I'm currently attending California State University Channel Islands in Ventura County, studying computer information technology with a double minor in computer science and security engineering. I look to graduate this coming December. The amount of gratefulness and honor I have for being a recipient of the Pacific Club Scholarship is plentiful. This award has given me the ability to focus on my academics during my collegiate career and not the financial hurdles that can burden and overwhelm many college families. As I think back over the past 4 years of my collegiate career, I come to realize the ability to focus on my academics has resulted in my success in pursuing opportunities to further my education, with roles alongside Shop.com, Apple Inc., and now the Naval Warfare Center. I owe much thanks, once again, to the Pacific Club, as this would have not been possible without you all. Beyond these opportunities, I've been able to develop everlasting relationships, build networks, support my local community, and embrace the college experience that I've been blessed with. When Nancy Clayfield emailed myself and others, she asked, "What are you dreaming for your future?" This was a question that I initially could not answer. 2 to 3 years ago, I would have said, I'm going to pursue my master's, possibly look to work in cybersecurity, and hope to become a chief information security officer. Although that sounds great, it shows determination and is something I still see attainable does it actually show purpose? It is an initial goal that one would consider fecal, and even a lack of thinking outward. And today, I would have to agree with that. That essence is what I want for the future. The ability to think outward. Understanding that interactions and daily routine amongst each other conceptually can impact ourselves and the people around us at a depth many do not realize. With everything going on in this world, I think the most important thing in my life and future career is how can I move and touch others and hopefully provide knowledge, insight, and intellect for the ones around me and the next generation. Last year, I concluded my speech with a quote that my father instilled in my family. Today, I will leave you with a quote that I can hopefully instill amongst you all. The past can't be changed, but should be acknowledged. The present is a new beginning with opportunity for action, and the future is a gift. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcus. And now I'd like to bring Corey to the, if she's ready, I think she is.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody. So I'd like to start off by thanking everybody for coming today. I know it's under strange circumstances that not everybody wanted to come, but it's really important for all of us that everyone showed up today. So I wanted to start by thanking everybody to coming and celebrating your all generosity and our achievements, that we've been celebrating this in a way that we did not anticipate, but it makes it nonetheless meaningful for all of us. I want to especially thank the members for donating to us because it helps us all so much more with school that we no longer have to worry about anything. I've been continuing my education at Cal State Fullerton, and this year I'm a junior studying graphic arts. Let's see. And then this last semester, I always loved going to school, so not being able to go to school was something that I really did not want to deal with. But I persisted, and it's something that's helped me continue my education in ways that I never thought I could. I've been fortunate enough to receive the scholarship for the 3rd year, which is very surprising to me when I got that email. I was astounded, honestly. This has allowed me to continue my education in ways that I didn't think I would be able to, being able to afford art supplies that weren't necessarily necessary, but were optional for my career, and helps me enable my work better. I've been able to do extra painting classes and ceramics classes, which are my passions and hobbies that allow me to be more creative and hopefully open up my career options. I've spent a lot of time over this past few months trying to create my own style, which was something that I really wanted to do a while ago. And I've been able to open up my own Etsy shop. Not so far so good, but it's okay. I got my hopes up still. I want to become my own self-employed artist in hopes to sell my own artwork. I'm hoping to continue my path on digital work and 2D design. And then I have learned a lot of my education online, which isn't always good for art, but it's okay. I'm still continuing my own hobbies and education, and it hasn't stopped me from achieving greatness and being better to myself. And again, I wanted to thank everyone for coming, and thank you, and wishing everyone the best of health.
Okay, thank you, Corey. And last, I can see she's ready. Naomi.
Hi, hello. I first off want to start with thanking everyone who's here today. I know that COVID has made this year extremely difficult. My family actually had to go through that awful experience in June, and I can tell you it was not fun. But we made it out okay, and here we are. My name is Naomi Vasquez. I am a student at Vanguard University in Costa Mesa. And I have been here with the Pacific Club on and off since my senior year in high school. So I started off in the kitchen as an internship, and then I moved to the front of the house where I get to actually see the members and talk to the members instead of just hiding out in the kitchen. My senior year in high school till now, I've noticed a change in myself for the good. And throughout my time here at the Pacific Club, I've also seen that I've been able to learn and grow in many ways that I wouldn't have actually seen possible. I've been learning to step out of my comfort zone. This is not like a usual thing I do, and to talk to new people. I want to say thank you to my managers. I don't know if they're here, but to Saul, Fred, and Nate for always pushing me and telling me to like be my best on the floor and to stay motivated that I can do it and to not get nervous. Saul always tells me, he's like, Naomi, you can do this, go out and do your best. And honestly, like, it really helps. The little pep talk, it just gets me out there. I also want to say thank you to the rest of the staff that I usually work with, but I haven't been here since March, sadly, because they have all contributed to my growth and this learning experience in my life in some way. Not only to the staff, but as well as to the members. Even though we probably have never spoken, your contribution to the scholarship has really impacted my life. I just began the fall semester of my junior year at Vanguard University of Southern California. And this semester, I decided to push myself. So I encouraged myself to take on 7 courses, and 2 of those are 8 a.m.s. What helps is that they're through Zoom, so I don't have to get up that early. I get up like 10 minutes before. But I want to say like special thanks to everyone who helped in donating for this scholarship, because of that, I am able to take these 19 units this semester. And once completed, I will be qualifying at a senior level halfway through my junior year. And I'll possibly receive my degree sooner than expected. And this wouldn't have been possible without your contributions. I really appreciate that you guys donated to like this scholarship. It has motivated me to stay in school and to challenge myself and to work hard for my goal. Knowing that many people don't get a full ride, it really pushes me during difficult times to continue to work towards my degree. And not having to worry about loans or debts has really it's really helped me to focus in getting my education completed. I am a business administration major with a minor in sociology. And having 4 years of experience in hospitality in high school, and I have like 2 to 3 years here at the club, has encouraged me to continue to grow in hospitality and pursue a career in it. I have always been fascinated with how the hospitality industry works. It's like, I love hotels, resorts, everything like that. And my goals are to stay within hospitality and to work my way up into the industry. And I am grateful to all of you who, through your donations, have contributed to someday fulfilling my dream of being a hotel, club, or resort manager. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you very much, Naomi. I'd like to now introduce Nancy Clayfield, who's going to, and everyone knows Nancy, she's really the person who makes all this happen, I got to tell you. So thank you so much, Nancy. And you get to introduce our actual winners today. Okay.
Very excited. First, I want to say this has been such a joy-filled night to see the lights that you're under. When you see the pictures, you won't believe it. They are beautiful. To know that each of you came out at a time when a lot of people aren't coming out. And to know that we're offering it through Zoom, and so members are able to see this and experience what you guys are experiencing and the joy for each of these recipients. So with that said, we have some little awards for our recipients. Vanna White here is going to give them each to Marcus and Mia. Vanna's not quite as fast as she used to be, but that's okay. Hey, Monica and Priscilla. Corey and Naomi. I congratulate all of you for your next year, and we hope to see you back again. It would be good, except some of you are graduating, but it's okay. Come back anyway. We'll have you talk. I want to give a personal thanks to Dr. Doty for being willing to come and share his experiences with us. I appreciate that. I want to thank Oscar Nieves. He's back here doing all of our tech work and getting everything up and going. Thank you. And I want to thank all of the employees here at the Pacific Club who made this possible, who have come to serve you as members, who come to here to be a family with you. So we thank them all. So where did my cohort go, Mr. Burra? Where did my partner? He's way over there. He was going to give some closing remarks. What do you think he'd say? He would say enjoy. He would say thank you for coming, enjoy, have a safe trip home, and if you have any questions, you can always call me for anything. Thank you very much for your evening.